everybody. Welcome back to Lick the Spoon with Beth and Jayme, your podcast for the mundane tasks of life. We're here with you doing your laundry, dishes, cleaning up after those little crotch goblins. Maybe not crotch goblins. Sorry, that's probably not appropriate.
Terrible.
Is that a terrible
What
name?
are you even referring to?
I'm referring to children.
Why would you call them
Crotch goblins? I don't know. I heard someone call them that once. And then when I see a child running around at a store that's being particularly horrible, I'm like, you little goblin.
Yeah,
So,
well, I get the goblin, the crotch part.
because they come out of a crotch.
Well, they do. So I'm like, okay, maybe a newborn. I don't know, Beth.
I know, but next time you see a kid, you're gonna be like, crotch goblin.
My own kids.
Yeah. There's actually like a whole like not anti-child, I shouldn't say that. They're like people that don't want to have kids, but some of them are like a little bit intense where they're like a little bit anti-kid where like, get your kid away from me. I'm like, I'm not there. But this lady was calling kids crotch goblins. It just made me giggle.
Yeah.
So Jamie's like, not my kid. Not my kid.
I love kids.
I do too.
Not just my kids. I love kids.
I know you do, but you have to admit some of them are horrible.
Well, of
because
course
they're humans.
Some of them are. For
those
the
are the
most
ones
part,
those are
for
the
the
ones
most part,
I
oh my gosh, I love kids so much.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, they're pretty cool. I mean, I love kids until they are in fourth grade. Because fourth and fifth graders are the worst human beings on this planet.
That's a terrible thing to say. Why? Are you sure it's not
Well, I work mainly with teens.
teenagers?
See, but like I like working with teens. And even though they can be angsty and like moody and stuff, at least they know what they are. When they're in fourth and fifth grade, their hormones start dropping. And all of a sudden they just like, they're switching from kid mode to like not kid mode. And it's just like, I don't know, man. It's just painful.
Yeah.
It's painful. And like they start like acting out a little bit and just like trying to be cool, but they're not. And you're like, stop.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there are a lot of phases that children go through.
My least favorite child phase is like the end of fourth grade through the beginning of sixth grade. So those 2 years, because literally, sorry, if you hear a cat, that's for Telly just putting her 2 cents into about life and children.
Yeah, you were saying how horrible kids are at that age, which is basically the age of my children.
Sorry.
Almost. Well, Karis she's in third grade, so she's going to be in fourth grade next year. But oh my gosh, I'm absolutely loving third grade.
Yeah, that's a fun time because they still have the magic of just like being a kid, and they haven't turned yet.
No, I know. And I am just savoring seriously every moment because I know it's going to happen.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's just like one day they're like, oh, and now you're horrible. Okay, we can rock with this for a few years. So anyway, but yeah, I think that whole like childhood like switch is a lot.
It is a lot. And it's not just like a switch and then it's like a flip flop.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
it switches
it's back and forth.
Yeah.
I remember being in like sixth grade and knowing it wasn't cool to play with Barbies, but still wanting so desperately to play with Barbies. Like I remember the very last time I played Barbies, like for real Barbies, you play when you're babysitting stuff, but the last time I played for me. And I had a friend over, it was a neighborhood friend, and my grandpa had built this like dollhouse that kind of had like a bird's eye view. So it was this giant square with rooms and furniture.
Cool.
It was really cool. He had made it for my mom and then I got gifted it. It was giganimous. Anyway, and I remember we were doing this whole like days of our lives, melodramatic soap opera play. And then it turned a little risque. And then I realized, I think I'm done with Barbies.
Really?
So, yeah.
And that was your last time that you played?
That was the last time I picked them up. Yeah. Yeah, it was like now looking back, it was bittersweet, but it's almost like in the moment I knew it was my last time playing. And it was very like movie moment of like,
That's
and
so
the shift is here. Yeah. It was, I don't know, it was just definitely a weird moment and definitely a moment that lives forever with me. As like, there's this movie that I watched called Finding Neverland.
Yes, I've seen it. I don't remember the movie details.
Of course.
Sorry.
Yep. But there's this moment where the writer, Johnny Depp's character, is talking to this little boy about something. And the little boy is like worried about his mom and just whatever. And the guy looks at the little boy and is like, and there it is. You just lost your childhood kind of thing. Like you
That's
just,
so
and I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, but it was
so
that kind of
sad.
moment where it's like that shift from childhood, you know, to adolescence and, you know, it's just so, it was just right there. So
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of that, like, did you watch Disney's newest movie?
Yes.
Yes.
I did watch it. I watched it this weekend with my daughter and her friend on her birthday.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. Literally got done with work, ordered a pizza, 3:30 in the afternoon. I'm like, I'm watching Turning Red.
Good for you.
Like, this is my treat for the week because it was a long week. And when I tell you I loved that movie, oh my gosh, bawling.
Really?
Yeah, it was so good. I'm not bawling, but like there's many moments that made me tear up and just have flashbacks to that time of life. Oh my gosh,
me
it was
too.
so good.
It was good. And so I had seen, for whatever reason, that there had been some controversy about the show. And I had this little friend over and I texted her parent because she said she had already seen it. And so I just texted that parent. I was like, is this cool to watch? And her dad's like, oh yeah, it's fine. And so anyway, we watched it. And I guess because I had that kind of preconceived idea in my head, I was kind of waiting for something.
Yeah, nothing.
And yeah. And I was just like, I think this is pretty awesome. So I didn't see it from that perspective at all. But also, I mean, I've talked to my kids about all kinds of things like puberty and menstruation and all of that kind of stuff. And so it wasn't like, I think
never heard of it before.
Yeah. And I think part of the deal with people's being uncomfortable with it or whatever is because they're like, oh, it's inappropriate for these young kids or something. And I'm like, well,
they're experiencing
kids
it.
need to know. Yeah.
Like, we're not going to tell you about it, but just go ahead and experience it with no context.
Right. Yeah. So, and I didn't find like that to be the focus at all anyways of the show. I mean, it was, yeah, let's talk about this.
It was great. Well, let me back up. The controversy cracked me up because there was a big controversy about a review that came out by this guy. And he basically like, this doesn't relate to me. Like, I can't relate to these characters. And usually I can relate to Pixar, characters. I'm paraphrasing and being a little snarky, but it was such a like bro dude thing to say of like, I can't relate to people like, especially women and their like journey through adolescence. So I'm going to give it a bad review.
That's so dumb.
It was so short-sighted. I've seen that from actually a few different male creators that like tend to, do movie reviews and stuff. And it's just like,
surprise.
I know, shocking, right? But I thought it was beautifully told. I thought the mother-daughter dynamic is so spot on of that. I mean, my mom's relationship with me was tumultuous by the time I hit puberty because it was two just women trying to live in a house together that it was just painful. So I was super appreciative of that.
I thought they did a really good job of that dynamic as well. And I thought, oh my gosh, the scene where the girl is drawing the cartoons, drawing and sketching. Yes. And she gets under her bed and she's sketching, all these this cute boy or whatever. And
as a mermaid, which I was like, yes, girl.
So funny. But when the mom, I don't want to give spoilers but whatever.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, kind of. But when the mom like drags her to the store to confront this kid and just
mother trucker. Yes.
Utterly humiliating and embarrassing that would be for that girl. Like I could feel her.
I could feel it.
I totally felt it. I was just like, oh my gosh. Because I remember being that age and being mortified by little things.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And that was not a little thing. Like
that's a big thing.
Would have been like my life is ending.
Oh yeah. That's like I'm never going out in public again. Okay, I had a flashback to a mortifying event with my parents. It was 6th grade. So this is perfect timing for this. 6th grade, I have to go to middle school and it's like the night that the 6th graders go and you have to like learn about school and how it's going to work. You pick up your schedule and you pick up your gym clothes. Remember, we had to buy gym clothes. So it's like you had the specific, do they still do that? Your kids had to buy gym clothes?
They didn't. But things are all weird, have been all weird with COVID.
Oh,
and so that's my only experience in middle school is during COVID. So I don't know because they didn't have lockers and they did things differently.
So this was the night you got your locker. You had to buy, because I went to a school, you had to buy like gray bottoms and like a white top and had the logo of the school on it and stuff for gym. And for me, it was very overwhelming to be in that situation. And there was a lot of people there. My mom and dad were there and you had to walk up and get your schedule. And I got so nervous. And my parents, especially my dad was like, just go get it, kind of thing. Like, dang it, like, don't be stupid. Go over there and get it. He didn't say stupid, but he was just like, go get the thing. You're being ridiculous. Tears.
Oh.
And then because I'm crying at orientation night, I'm worse. So I'm just facing them trying to pull it together because I'm so embarrassed. But it wasn't like I was like sobbing, but tears were flowing, like where you're like silently crying and trying to like not show anyone. That was the situation.
Gosh, that's so sad.
Yeah, I'm scarred for life. Thanks. Been in therapy for 50 years now. But yeah, it's just something about that age that's just so...
It's so awkward. It's so awkward. And you're so conscious and paranoid about what everyone else is thinking about you and feeling like everyone can tell like when you have your period.
Oh my gosh, do you remember that? Like that was the weirdest thing.
I kept feeling like I had like a loaf of bread in my pants, like with a stupid pad and just like.
And then you have to constantly check.
Yes.
Check me. Like you go to a girlfriend, check me.
Yes.
Just check.
It's just,
because it was awful.
I mean, that part doesn't necessarily even go away later.
No, but you get more confident. Let me tell you about confidence. This was just a couple years ago. I started my period and didn't have anything on me. I was out and about and what are you going to do? I had to stop at a grocery store and go buy something. I'm already bled through my pants and I'm trying to like put it over my purse because I don't have a jacket or anything. And I'm just like at the grocery store in line with a bloody butt and just like, this is my life now.
Yep.
Had that happened to me when I was 14, I would have been in a convent. I would have never, you know what I mean?
Yes,
but as an adult, it's just like, stuff happens and you have to deal with it.
I have a scarring story about this.
Thank you.
I mean, it's not, I don't know why it's scarring to me, but it's seared in my mind. So I think I'm 12 when I start my period. So I was either 12 or 13 at this time. And we lived in this Mennonite community, this isolated little Mennonite community where everyone knows everyone. And there's one store. And when you buy pads at the store, they put them in a brown paper bag. So as if...
Is everything else in a plastic bag?
Everything else is just normal and like, or out. Yes, in a plastic bag.
It's like the bag of shame.
It's like, yes. And so it's like, well, everyone knows what goes in the brown paper bag. So it's like, what's the difference? But I had to go and buy my own pads. And so I go to this... Okay, there's two stores. Okay, not just one. There's two stores. So I go to the corner store and it's just run by this couple and it's the man who's at the counter.
Oh, perfect.
And I'm so embarrassed to buy pads that I asked him if his wife was there.
Oh no.
So she could help me. And he goes, is it $3.50? Which was the cost.
Oh gosh.
Of the bag of pads. And I just like turn beet red and just like look at him and I'm like squeak out a little yes and just like run away kind of thing because I was so embarrassed. And I mean, he's a dad. I mean, it's not a big deal to him whatsoever. But at that time for me,
game over.
It was. And so I will never forget.
Yeah.
I will never forget him asking me, is it $3.50?
That is amazing. So I was 10 when I started my period. And so
you were
very
so young.
I get up. It's an April morning. I'm scarred for life again for this. So it's in April 1990. So I get up to watch some cartoons and I'm like, I think I might have wet the bed. And I'm sitting there watching cartoons. And I'm pretty sure I just urinated myself. Go into the bathroom. We hadn't had the talk at school. My mom had never told me anything. I am now bleeding out of an orifice. And I think...
Do you think you're going to die?
I think I'm dying. And I'm screaming. And it was wild. And my mom comes in. And then she's trying to explain everything in the moment. And it was just so horrible. And then I started feeling bad. Which that's the other thing. It's not like you just start your period and bleed.
You start getting
cramps and like, why do my boobs hurt? All this stuff. And that's all happening now. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So later that day... My neighbor who's like family, they take us to the ice cream store, like Baskin Robbins or something. And I have my little brother and her son are the same age. And so they're doing that. And she walks up to me as we're just ordered our ice cream. And she's like, somebody told me something.
Oh no.
I heard you got your period. This woman said this. I'm 10 years old
at an ice cream
shop.
Out loud.
there's teenagers working.
No.
So I was just like,
oh, you poor girl.
So mortified and so embarrassed and so betrayed by my mother. Because I'm like, that hooch.
Because that was lady, like a secret, or not a secret, but that was private.
It was private. Yeah. Especially at 10. It was just like.
Yeah. You weren't ready for that.
I was not ready for a period because I thought I could will it away. I started my period once in, I was in 5th grade at this time. So I started my period. I'm like, I'm not going to have it. And I started at school and I was wearing red pants with a white sweater. It was a look, and a white or a red turtleneck. And I'm sitting in music class, crisscross applesauce on like the floor. And I'm like, pretty sure I'm just free bleeding right now. And I was like, nope, I'm going to will it away. And so for the entire class, I'm trying to suck. I'm trying to suck it back in. Oh, no. And that doesn't work. It did not work. I had to go to the nurse's office. And I learned a valuable lesson. But yeah, I just didn't know. And, that's why I love this story, is that at least you can have a conversation.
Yes.
Yes. It opens a door.
It totally does. And honestly, I don't know that my daughter even realized that that's what they were talking about. I mean, she just turned 9. She knows what it is, but they don't come out and say.
No. And you don't need to.
No, you don't need to. But you're right. It totally opens the door for that conversation. And it's presented in a way. I mean, half of the world has this experience.
Yes. And usually traumatically. So
Unfortunately,
yeah. And I don't know. I loved all the emotions. And the thing that I loved too about this was that all of the girls supported each other. Mm-hmm. And I love that.
The friendships of the girls.
The friendships was so good.
Oh my gosh. I love that too.
Because there's a lot of shows or it just feels like, and maybe I'm wrong because I don't want to watch a lot of kids shows, but it just feels like.
There's always a mean girl.
There's like girl on girl violence where it's like competition or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we get enough of that. And I feel like that's kind of something that's like drilled into us to be as women when it's not a truth, at least in the States, like it just feels like we're in competition, and it's like, can't we just support each other and just like, we don't have to talk smack. Mm-hmm. I mean, will I still? Yes, but I do it lovingly. Right. It's like I can talk about my mom, but you can't talk about my mom. Mm-hmm. I can talk about my friends. I can be like, girl, she's crazy. Mm-hmm. But if somebody else would say something, I'm like, oh, absolutely not. Do you want to knuckle sandwich? Yeah. I'm with you. No, I love that part about the movie it was
too.
so good. And the music was spot on for the era. I was like, yes. This was 2002.
Yes, and I also loved what was it? What was the name of the band?
4 Hands. 4 Hands? Something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was great. Overall, fantastic movie. Mm-hmm. It just
I enjoyed it.
I'm going to watch it again just because I have nothing better to do. But it was really good. And I don't know, it kept making me smile. So I thoroughly recommend anybody that's listening to this podcast and hasn't seen Turning Red to go watch it, because it just it'll spark something in you. And it was really good for representation too, I have to say, because all the cultural stuff that came with it. Mm-hmm. I'm not Chinese. Well, they were Chinese Canadian, but I just appreciated just seeing that in felt very authentic way, and not like we were being pandered to, or that they were trying to use it as like a marketing tool, which sometimes it can feel like that, like diversity for the sake of diversity, instead of like, just show us what it's really like, So, and I loved the cooking scenes, gonna say. Like, I was just like, I'm getting hungry, and this is literally an animated film.
I know. I also, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. I also loved the piece about that inner panda that like comes out, and then trying to control those feelings, and just not being able to control them, and then having to like deny that, and I love the choice that she makes in the end, and just I just thought that was there's a lot of life lessons and deeper meaning to all of that I would like to talk about with my kids. My boys did not want to watch the show.
I can understand why.
So they didn't watch it, but I think I'm going to watch it again too with Karis, and then actually take some time to talk about it instead of afterwards being like, we need to go to bed. Yeah. I think it's worthwhile, and I feel like it's one of those ones you can come back to for the next few years, and just other things will be picked up on. And I don't know, if I had a kid, I'd be like, we're watching this every day. You're not going to therapy.
Anyway, so definitely a good experience, a memory maker for sure. And it was just her birthday.
It was.
So I saw some Instagram pictures. It looked fabulous. It was like brunch and nails or something.
It was. Oh my gosh. She loved it. She loved it. She had 6 friends come over, and she was involved in a lot of the prep work. So she and I made the little sandwiches. We set it all up together. We decorated together, and she picked the nails that we were going to do because we did Color Street. It was really, really sweet. Yeah. It was a really sweet party. And I had little coloring pages set up for when they first got there, because I knew they wouldn't all get there at the same time. And Karis is really into coloring right now, coloring and drawing and sketching and all that stuff. And so all the girls were into that. So they just colored and visited and talked, and then they had their brunch, and then I did all their nails, and then we sang happy birthday and did presents, and then the hour and a half was up. It was perfect.
Oh, a 90-minute party. That's genius. Yeah. But how special. You know what I mean? Just that special.
Yeah. And we had talked about a lot of ideas for her party, because she loves her birthday party. Like she's all about the party. And so she and I talk about it a lot leading up to her actual birthday. And I was trying to figure out, spring is hard in a way, because I feel like outdoor parties are the easiest.
Yeah.
Because kids can run around, and you can do run around like games, or you can do a pool party or something like that. But when it comes to indoor stuff, I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars to do a birthday party at like a gymnastics place, or even, I mean, I would maybe if
it's a lot, though.
But it is a lot. And none of those, she didn't want to do any of that stuff, because I was like, do you want to do the roll arena? Do you want to, I was trying to think of some place to have her party other than my house, because she also wanted to invite, she loves to invite a ton of people.
She's like her mama.
Yes. Yep. So having it at our house, we just narrowed it down, and it was a really sweet party, and she was really happy, and everything was purple, which is her favorite color. And I think it turned out really well. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really cute. I know. It was just sweet.
And I got her a purple Care Bear, because
oh my gosh. Yes.
I call her Care Bear, but I know, just kind of going back to what we were talking about before with like coming of age and all that, I just know that there is not very many birthdays or occasions left where she is going to be excited about a stuffed animal. And I like that she still is. And so,
totally enjoy it and savor it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I feel fortunate and blessed to have worked with so many kids throughout the years and have those. There's just something that is so magical, experiencing life through kids. And although I don't have my own, I've been fortunate to experience it through, my students that I've worked with, or my friends' kids. And it's just the wonder in their eye. And it doesn't take much to like make magic happen. It's so amazing. Yeah, I love it.
Yes. And Kara, and like her personality she is so enthusiastic about every little thing. And she was just so thrilled with every little thing, like every detail she noticed and was just so excited about and just loved. Like it was just so sweet. And then all her little friends gave her a gift, and she just had a blast. And it was so fun watching her open her presents and then just like give her friend a hug. And it was so sweet.
I can understand why people overindulge with their kids sometimes and buy so many presents. It's just because it's so fun to watch them open it.
Yeah.
Like I saw this one lady on the TikTok, and she buys her family like 50 gifts each for Christmas. So her entire living room was just presents. And I was like, that's a lot. But then it's like the joy she got from watching their faces. I'm like, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Like I kind of get going over the top like that. Because it's just so fun and special.
Well, I love Christmas, like doing gifts and stuff at Christmas with my family, because we don't do it really any other time of year. Like my kids, when they want stuff, I tell them to put it on their birthday list or their Christmas list. Like and they have to wait unless they buy it with their own money.
Yeah.
For the most part, because
we're middle class.
Yeah. And because I'm like, I'd be buying them stuff every day.
Yeah.
If I just got them whatever they wanted,
yes.
when they wanted it.
They got to do that when they're older.
And some things fade away. Like something that they wanted now, they're not going to want in 3 months or 6 months or whatever.
Yeah. But when you do get to give them stuff, it's so fun.
Right. And so Christmas, I'm trying to make, we don't, I don't do 50 gifts like this woman, but we did quite a bit this year and it was super fun. Yeah. Like I loved it.
Oh yeah. There's just nothing like it. I did a lot of stuff like that for my youth groups. And, I did youth ministry for 15 years at 5 different churches. And so I met a lot of teenagers and Christmas was always a big deal. And there was one church I was working at and most of the kids there had never had a stocking before. And so I found stockings at so I think it was like at a knockoff Dollar Tree type of store, but they'd labeled them for 10 cents. So I bought like 25 stockings and then I just spent like 2 or 3 months just like clearance selling and everything. And I filled every stocking to the brim with like wrapped presents and the little tchotchkes and stuff. And then I posted them all on a bulletin board. So when they came in, they all had all these giant full size red stocking with the white fur with, just with their name. It was like a whole thing. It was so fun to see it.
What a memory for them too. And can I just say that I really wish that my kids were in your youth group? I wish
I'm really good at my job. I was really good at it.
I really wish they were.
Yeah. It was so fun. Like, yeah, it was just, I think that's the thing I missed most is, obviously I just miss my students and I miss like being a memory maker and creating moments where they can like just make memories, and we used to do like a monthly like fellowship night and we called it Funtivities, like from The Office, and it would have a theme. And Jayme, I love a theme.
Yeah.
So it was like throwing a themed birthday every month. And it was just like, we'd had like a Fortnite when Fortnite was at its peak. We had a Fortnite Nerf gun night. And, we've had we did an annual cooking cook-off. And it was great. It was the scariest thing of my life though, because you have all these teenagers running around with knives and I'm like, put the knife down and not knowing how to cut and but it was so fun. And I don't know, there's just lots of like good memories in that. So alas, now I make those memories for my cat. Don't think I'm not throwing a cat birthday in May. Yeah, her birthday's in May. I'm going to throw an adoption party in August for my cat because that's where I'm at in life now. I've just lost all sense of cool.
Because that's when you adopted her.
When I adopted her,
because I was like, wait, that's different.
We'll probably do a birthday party just to celebrate her and I.
So that's what I was wondering. So what are you going to have a theme? Like, have you thought this through?
I probably will not.
Are you inviting people or animals or both?
I think that I'm going to see if my friends with cats want to have like a cat party. For cats that are like friendly, but we'll see. That's asking a lot because I feel like cats and dogs interact very differently.
My gosh, you could have a lot of hissing.
Yeah, and I'm by a party. I probably won't throw a party other than like putting like a birthday hat on her and taking pictures for her Instagram. So that's the type of memories I'm making with the cat.
She has an Instagram. I need to follow her.
The Last Bits on Instagram is my cat Fratelli's.
Oh my goodness! Thing. Hey, speaking of following on Instagram,
yes.
Hey, we have an Instagram for this podcast. It is called Lick the Spoon, isn't it?
Lick the Spoon Podcast.
Oh, Lick the Spoon. It is called Lick the Spoon Podcast.
Yeah. So follow us on Instagram. Yeah. At Lick the Spoon. You can interact with us at Lick the Spoon Podcast. We literally post not very often, but
we want to post more.
We want to post more. And we want to engage. We want to see who's listening to the podcast. Like what are you guys thinking? Please don't say anything negative, but we would love to hear your feedback and comments and what you want to hear about, because we're a hot mess over here.
We have no idea who listens to this.
Yeah.
And now that I've told the, internet my most embarrassing story.
Yeah.
When we did the cringy,
yes.
And a lot of things I share, that we share, I'm like, I don't know who knows this now. Yeah. So let us know. So follow us and comment and ask us questions.
Yes.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Yes.
Like answering people's questions on the podcast.
Or topics you want us to hear us ramble about, because we're good ramblers.
We really are. We didn't even, how long have we been talking?
We've been talking now for like almost 30 minutes about nothing and everything.
Well, we had some ideas about what we were going to talk about, but we don't know
what's going to come out of these mouths, people. That's really where you get crotch goblins. So
goodness gracious.
Make sure to follow us.